It's a competitive world that we all live in, but this is a giant family of competitors and fans, a huge family, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people. What's the response been like to you since this news?
Well, to be honest, they've almost been my glue, to be honest. It's, the sport I love to do, which has helped me, get through this. The family itself has bonded together from financial support to basically emotional support. My team has been amazing. Kim and Brad Jones, they've stood by me. That my car is waiting for me to get well, for me to drive back into it. And in a competitive world these days, how many operations would allow that?
Jason, as I said at the top of the interview, it is fantastic to see you. On behalf of everybody in the V8 supercar community, we wish you all the very best in genuine terms. Jump in that race car, go and enjoy every second of it, and we cannot wait for you to get back in the car during the season.
Can't wait to do some skids out there today, Neil.
All right, thanks for your time and travel, Jason Richards. And if you want to follow Jason, you can do that on the website and send a message of support. Take a break on V8 Extra. When we come back, we're going to jump onto the grid and we'll talk to a couple of blokes who've made big news in the summer season. Back in a minute.
The moment you start setting expectations, you tend to end up being disappointed. So I don't have any at this point in time. We just know damn well that what we're doing is to the best of what we currently have. I don't think we've got too many weaknesses, to be quite honest. I think at the end of the day, we've basically got rid of all the weaknesses that we've had, and we're now wanting to sort of try and better ourselves from where we ended up last year. I think we've got a totally different outlook on how we want to approach this year, and with different people. So new broom sweeps clean. We want to challenge ourselves more than anything else, and I know there's a lot of competition out there, but we'll just see how the year pans out. And any time you come to this sort of competition, it's all about being consistent, and that's what we want to be to start with.
Holden. Ford, definitely all the way.
I'm a Holden fan.
Ford? Yes, I'm a Holden fan. Lounsey and Win Cup for this year.
I'm a Ford fan, always have been.
Oh, I'm actually more about the drivers, mate. I'm a Will Davison fan. Skated before that, before he got booted out of the main game.
I'm Mark Winterbottom.
Anyone who Dick Johnson's supporting.
Oh, it's a hard one to choose. I have to say Lounsey.
Mark Winterbottom, I'd say. Yeah, he's probably my favourite driver.
Probably Courtney now.
I'd like to see James Moffat perform well this year.
Lee Holdsworth and Caruso.
Lounsey.
Yeah.
No question there.
For ex-Angels at Eastern Creek Raceway, as we welcome you back to V8 Extra. It's our launch day for the 2011 Championship season and our first test of our brand new year. Welcome back. Hope you're enjoying the program. Well, it's grid walk time, and as you can see, surrounded by thousands, tens of thousands of enthusiastic V8 supercar fans. Now, over the summer break, there's been a lot of news about our next couple of guests. Larko and I are lurking down here at the moment, and we want to be able to put a few answers to several of the questions about what matters most in the land of Will Davison and Ford Performance Racing. And shortly we're going to talk to James Courtney at the Holden Racing Team end of the grid. Now, buried here in the middle of a sea of blue, driving the Trading Post car for 2011, hi darling, is this man who's got an all-new suit for the new season. And I just had a look at the timing monitor before I came and found you. It looked like you've found a bit of speed in the last couple of weeks.
That's right. So obviously I did something right over the break. But hey, if it's like that after qualifying in Abu Dhabi, I'll be very happy. But as I said, the initial impressions are very good, and I'm pretty excited.
Will, it's a whole new deal. I mean, a new car, a new environment, a new suit, new everything. What's it been like?
It's been great. It's been really good, Cromley. So obviously last year was extremely frustrating, and it's your life, motorsport. So when it's not going well, it's pretty tough to dust yourself off sometimes. So fresh faces, fresh colours, fresh car, fresh everything, and fresh motivation. And I'm sure I can bounce back bigger and better.
I had a gentleman in the background there saying welcome back because you've been in a Ford before. You did it at Dick Johnson Racing successfully a few years ago.
I did, and they were very enjoyable years. So always grateful for those 3 years with Dick. And actually at this place at Eastern Creek, I scored my first race win. So first morning back in a Ford, and I'm P1 again. So as I said, it's an important day today. Lots of new things to learn, lots of new switches, the way the boys work, the way they communicate. But the transition so far is really smooth, and I'm really happy.
And Matt Nilsson, Teko's come across as well, so he's looking after things on the engineering side. He worked with you closely last year.
Yeah, know Teko very well, and obviously he engineered me last year. So we both had a disappointing year, but as I said, both of us are fresh and hungry for some success, and he's stepped up in his role, and it's nice to have a familiar face around the place.
Nice and warm out here. I'm glad it's you wrapped up in a race. I'm going to do a bit of market research here, folks. What do you reckon about this bloke driving a Ford this year? Is that, yeah? Nice work. Well, we've got a bit of support. You're off to a good start. Best wishes for what is going to be a very, very busy season.
It is, but I've never been more pumped about a season. So Trading Post car looks good, and it's fast so far.
All right, get on with it. I'll let you get back to the fans. Thanks, Will. Larko, let's get to the other end of the grid here. There's another story to tell with James.
Okay, thanks, Neil. Well, let's see if we can dive in here and, gee whiz, excuse me, can I just barrel in there and grab, hey, James. Now the first thing
it's time to go.
The first thing I wanted to ask him was, mate, first of all, turning up. No, we will get to that. Turning up as a champion, mate. It's obviously I can see it must be quite flattering, eh?
Yeah, no, it's. I suppose everyone was asking me when it's going to sink in, and I suppose just now is when it's starting to sink in. When you're here with all your peers, and you're the guy carrying the one. So over Christmas, it was nice to have it, but it's definitely now it's made the impact on me. So it's been good.
Now let me ask you about the fan reaction, because straight away I look around here, mate, and I see mostly red shirts. Now,
there's a blue one right here.
Well, let's just ask him the question. What's your view of James switching to red?
Well, I just think it's
good.
Over the times, mate. If the opportunity's there for him, he's been a great driver, and his opportunity's there. Take it.
Beep. We've just bipped that bit out, mate. That was you shouldn't have said
I'll give
that.
you $50 later, pal.
But the fan reaction has been good.
Yeah, look, there's been some people that are upset, but a lot of people have come up to me from the other side and said, "Look, thanks for stepping up as a team last year when I'm winning the championship. Because if we weren't there, then the Holden guys would have won." So no, it's been good, and everyone at the Holden side of things has been really welcoming, and everyone in the team's been great. So it's been good. Mum's happy with me in red. She said it looks nice on me.
Beautiful, mate. I've got to ask you. I mean, you've only been in the team a short time, but any fundamental difference to where you've been? I mean, in terms of the way the thing's structured or functions or operates, is it different?
Yeah, no, very much so. It's very very much structured here. Everyone has their role. No one sort of does two roles. There's a lot more personnel, and everyone knows their job and does it very well. It's very professional, and it's a big organisation, so it's everyone knows what to do.
Got to ask you, first impressions driving the Holden, mate. I've driven a Commodore or two. I've not been that pleased with it. Your first impressions today having to drive it? I mean, is it different? People say Ford Holden. Is it different to drive?
Oh, it's awesome, Larko. It's
no, you are so predictable.
No, it is pretty different. It's the ergonomically, it's really quite different inside. But as the car goes, it is quite different. The aero balance is a little bit different through the high-speed stuff. But we're just doing stupid changes just to Scotty and myself, just to see what the car does. So, when we get to Abu Dhabi and the car's doing something, we know what to change to do it. So, we've just got to build up that knowledge, and that's what we're doing today.
Well, mate, if anyone can squeeze the best out of it, I reckon you can. So we look forward to seeing you at the Middle East in red, mate.
Cheers, Larko. Make that 7. Make the whole shirt red, I think, is a good idea.
Good on you, Larko. Well, that wraps up our grid walk. You can see there's heaps of people enjoying this at the moment. We're going to take a break on V8 Extra. When we come back, we shall wrap up our first show for 2011. But as we go to the break, I just want to remind you about a couple of very important events coming up on our tour. Of course, the Clipsal 500, the original rock and race event. We've got free concerts for those that hold tickets to the event. 2011, the acts include Leo Sayer, Birds of Tokyo, the Doobie Brothers, The Sweet and Gyroscope. And then, of course, New Zealand. It's going to be a huge event again in 2011. And the headline acts over there are Good Charlotte and ZZ Top. That is going to be a magnificent event on the streets of Hamilton once again. It's a great circuit. And I'm urging all of our Kiwi fans to get down there and support the event. Don't forget, you can get all the details on the website. A break now on Extra. When we come back, we'll wrap things up from here at Eastern Creek.
Listen, I wanted to ask, is there anyone in the crowd with a blue shirt? Just want a quick vocal opinion of James flicking over to red. Those in the red shirts, what do you think about James coming over to red?
Oh, I
think we've got pretty high expectations. I mean, we finished the year on a high with a win, and yeah, I think we're just going to put it together more often and improve on what were our weaknesses last year, which is tracks like Eastern Creek. So it's great to come and test here, I think. Worked a lot on processes. Personnel have been very stable, which I think is a big strength for us. Well, obviously you want to operate like Triple Eight. They're the sort of people you want to do, and I think they're going to be strong this year. So I think you've got to look that way. Yeah.
Well, it's been a huge day at Eastern Creek Raceway in Sydney. The cars have pulled up down there on the line to finish what has been a monster test day and a huge launch. Mark Larkham with me to wrap things up as we finish off our very first V8 Extra for 2011. It's going to be a long road to the end of the year, to December, but Larko, what a day.
Mate, I'm a bit like you sometimes. I take a bit to get excited, but I can say, no, I am genuinely excited. I mean, there's some big-ticket items, aren't there? I mean, you've only got to look at the James Garth Tander thing fascinates me. How Whincup will respond to that. Murphy back in the game. Van Gisbergen's going to be hot this year. Frosty's got to do his best. I mean, there's so many things that are going to make this a ripper year.
Well, I said at the top of the show to you that it's going to be pretty hard to beat 2010 because it was an outstanding season. But by your reckoning, we're going to do that.
Well, I do, mate. I think it's been a long time when you can put your hand on your heart and say there's 5 or 6 guys that absolutely can win a race on merit, not on luck, on merit. We haven't seen that for a long time, and I reckon that stacks up for a fantastic championship.
All right, look forward to seeing you next weekend, Larko, because it's our first event. There's all the details on screen. It's the Yas Marina 400 from Abu Dhabi, full coverage on 7, and because obviously it's international telecast, you need to check your local guides to make sure that you catch all the action. Now, the week after on V8 Extra, we've got a very special show. We're going to catch up with the 5-time Bathurst winner, the 3-time series champion, Craig Lowndes, for a very special one-on-one. That's Saturday, the 19th of February at midday. Silence at last at Eastern Creek as the cars are now back in the garage after a huge and busy day of testing for everybody in the field. Let's check out the results for you after practice 2 this afternoon. And Craig Lowndes, fastest man, as you can see, 1 minute 30.1, faster than the lap record held by Mark Scaife, and that was also faster than his qualifying record, so very quick time from Lowndes. Michael Caruso just on half a second slower. Jason Bright, great form for Brad Jones Racing, just like we saw last year, position 3. Lee Holdsworth proving that the Gary Rogers cars have got pace in them, no fluke there. Jason Bargwan, a nice way to start with his guys at Brad Jones Racing, and Dean Fiore buying a spot in the top 10. Looking down the next page, down the order, Jamie Whincup 12th. Greg Murphy 13th, not a bad run for him in the Kelly car. Stevie Owen, new ride 15th, looking further down to Will Davo. Shane Van Gisbergen 19 and 20. Rick Kelly in the new car 25th. Paul Dumbrell rounding out the top 28. So that wraps things up here from our launch event, our very first test day for 2011. Hope you've enjoyed our V8 Extra special for today. We look forward to your company next weekend when we bring you the opening round of the V8 Supercar Championship from Abu Dhabi right here on 7.